I have my front basic bodice here. It is a full dress pattern, that is from the shoulder up to the dress length, and my paper is folded into two. I have the waist dart and the bust dart on this pattern. The waist dart measurement is already included in the waist measurement. There is no sewing allowance on this pattern. I used a neck depth of 3 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches. Like I said earlier, the waist dart is included in the waist measurements. I'll be separating this pattern at the waistline so that we can work on the upper parts. This is what we have for the upper part. After opening it up, you're going to make sure that you have all your markings ready on the other side also. From the neck point there, I'm going to be extending the neckline by 1.5 inches. So you're going to mark it slightly like you see me doing. Mark your 1.5 inches like so. And on the other side, the other neck point, I will also take it up like this and mark 1.5 inches. The next step is to connect from this part of the neckline into the armhole. This is just to create a line that will serve as a guide to construct the neckline. I'll bring in my curve to this other side and try to make a curve towards the neckline. Just look at the way I'm placing the curve and connect like you see me doing. After connecting that, I'm going to try and measure what I have from the top. I have about 7 inches there. That should serve as a guide if you are making yours. So from the top to that point, 7 inches. I am going to come in with my marker to make it visible. The next step now is to cut through the waist dart and close the bust dart. After closing the bust dart, I will transfer the dart to the shoulder and also to the armhole. I'll connect a line straight from the armhole to the bust point, and at the shoulder I will divide it into two and get the midpoint, and I'll connect with a straight line from the shoulder to meet the bust point. And I'll cut out the pattern. I'll cut through the line we created at the shoulder and also at the armhole. So don't cut it, just cut it straight to the bust point, and you're going to close your waist dart. I'll do the same thing for the line at the armhole also. I'll cut it like so and also close the waist dart. I'll bring in the lower part now and cut the pattern. After cutting the pattern, I'll close the darts also. Just before I work on the lower part, I feel like the space we have at the top is too much, so I'm going to transfer the darts a bit. Transfer the dart there to the other side. Just like we have a dart at the armhole, I'm going to transfer it to this other armhole also. I'll connect a line from the armhole to the bust point and transfer a bit of the dart there. I'll slash from the armhole and close the waist dart back. That way I have transferred a bit of the dart to the armhole. That means we have darts at the two armhole and also at the shoulder. To close the dart on this lower part, I'm going to connect each of the dart leg to the side like you see me doing. Connect each of the dart leg from the top to the bottom with a straight line. You can see the one I did now. Also, I'll do the same thing for the other side. After connecting that, I'll slash through and hold it down with my masking tape. You will notice a bit of shortage at the top. You are going to use your paper to cover that space you have there, like you see me doing with mine. Once we are done with the lower part, I will join it to the upper part. Place the two together and you're going to hold it with a masking tape. The next step is to cut out the design we have at the front of the dress. But first, I'm going to connect that hip line into a straight line. Next, I'm going to try and form like a curve to go straight to the other side. While forming yours, you can make it shorter than the hip line. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to get to the hip line, but I feel like I want mine that long. That is why I connected it to the hip line. You can do 3 inches or even 4 inches above the hip line. Once I'm done connecting, I'll cut it out. After cutting, this is what you should have. The last step for the front is to place this upper part on a fresh piece of paper so that we can have space for the dart on the paper. I will use my glue to hold the pattern on the paper. You are going to close the space you have in between the shoulder there and cut through the shoulder. You're just going to close that space you have there and cut the shoulder. That space you have there is the pleat you're going to take while transferring to fabric. Same thing I'll repeat for this armhole. I am going to close the dart there and trace out my armhole and cut out my armhole. I'll repeat the same thing for the other side. I'll close the dart there and I'll cut my armhole. So while transferring to fabric, I am going to take note of where the pleat is going to be on the fabric. This is what you should have after cutting, and that will be all for the front pattern. I have my back basic bodice on the table from the shoulder up to the dress length. I used a neck depth of 2 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches for this back. Also, I have my zipper allowance there, and the waist dart is included in the waist measurement. There is no seam allowance on this pattern, and I tightened the center back with 0.75. I'll separate the pattern at the waistline. There's going to be a waist joining, so we are separating the pattern at the waistline, and I'll cut the part I don't need out on the lower parts. Moving on to the upper part, just like we extended the front neckline by 1.5 inches, I'll be doing the same thing to this upper part. So from the neck point there, extend it up by 1.5 inches. And I feel like the neck depth of 2 inches I used here is too low, so I'm going to change it to 1 inch. I have marked my 1 inch and I'll extend it into the zip allowance. From the zip allowance, I'll go up by 1.5 inches and I'll connect with a curve to meet the neck point. That is basically all on the back pattern. I'll cut it out now. I don't want this particular video to be too long. That is why I have decided that the next video will be for the sewing part. So please turn on your notification bell so you'll get notified when I upload the sewing part of the style. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.